Think Vancouver Working for a Living series continues tonight with a look at a very personal issue, individual style. Now, most people would argue you have a right to dress the way you want, to sport whatever adornments you choose in your personal life. But what about on the job? What right does an employer have to intervene? Deborah Goebel has that story.
The airliner is ready to take to the skies again.
Not so long ago, when flight attendants were still called stewardesses, airlines demanded certain things of the women they hired. You had to be young, you had to be pretty, and once a year, you had to weigh in.
Today we think about that and it's mind-boggling.
But back then, the majority of passengers were men, and an appealing stewardess, well, that was just good for business.
And if she wanted to start a family, have children, or even just get married, she had to quit her job.
After all, those were the days when one airline advertised, "We really move our tails for you." But times changed, and so did the rules. The question now, though, is who determines what's acceptable in the workplace today? For Benoit Vaudry, an Air Transat flight attendant for the past 9 years, the answer could cost him his job.
This is what my employer is not crazy about, because it shows.
In the process of tattooing his entire arm, Vaudry's doing something his company has issues with.
The koi represents wisdom and courage. It's almost like a ritual. It's personal growth. It's something I believe in.
The rule at Air Transat is tattoos are acceptable, but they must be covered at all times. It's a rule Vaudry calls archaic.
It's not a gel tattoo anymore, and it's not associated with what it used to be.
He argues tattoos are no longer the domain of bikers and drug dealers, that they've gone mainstream in recent years.
Honestly, every type, every background, every job description, every faction of life, from mothers to lawyers, doctors, judges. I've tattooed every profession.
Commonplace they may be, still, Vaudry's employer doesn't like them.
I think I'm gonna get some ibuprofen tonight.
And the rule is long-sleeve shirts must be worn over tattoos at all times. But Vaudry argues, what does a tattoo have to do with how well he does his job?
I love what I do, I'm good at what I do, and this is not changing who I am.
It's an argument many have used in an attempt to fight corporate culture.
And just because of a little piercing, I got fired. That's not fair.
From the battle to wear a nose stud while working at Starbucks, to the long-haired West Vancouver police officer who took his fight all the way to the BC Human Rights Tribunal, then lost when it ruled short hair didn't stop him from making a living or participating in society. The police department argued grooming standards must be based on more than personal preference.
Perception is everything. We want to be perceived as professional, and we act as professionals. We've got to be perceived as professionals.
That was great, though.
An argument that is supported by someone many might perceive would have a very different perspective.
So it just hurts in general now. In a perfect world, yeah, no one's going to judge you. But everybody judges. It's what exists.
Air Transit Holidays, Lorraine speaking.
Let's try another date for you here.
And he who hands out the paycheck usually gets to decide what is and isn't acceptable in the workplace. Under federal human rights legislation, the only time employees are legally protected is when they can prove their clothing or appearance is necessary for cultural or religious reasons.
Really cool.
Still, that doesn't mean people like Benoit Vaudry can't and won't keep pushing for change.
I think it's time we redefine what professional means, and yes, I'm willing to go pretty big. That's good.
So far, his company hasn't taken any disciplinary action, but Vaudry says he's prepared to go into battle. After all, he maintains, where would flight attendants be without those who fought the rules? Deborah Goebel, CBC News, Vancouver.